So what Bernie's campaign has done is they've actually started to utilize a messaging strategy called the race-class narrative, which is a new progressive messaging strategy that basically kind of flips on its head the classic way of Democrats talking and trying to bring in basically minority groups. If you think about past presidential Democratic campaigns, whoever that may be, they would say, if you're black, I'm gonna fight for you. If you're brown, I'm gonna fight for you. If you're gay, I'm gonna fight for you. If you're trans, I'm gonna fight for you. That's great, right? The message is there. The problem is that you have to keep adding to that list.
Right.
And what happens when you have this long list, you start to have outliers, people who just frankly are forgotten and don't get talked about, which can lead to a really sick feeling in some of these communities. Like, what about us? What the race-class narrative does is actually flips on its head. And instead of saying, I'm going to fight for these individual communities, it says, whether you're this or that, we are all brought together by a rich, white, ruling class that is trying to use race against you, against us. It's a message that it creates unity among those who are at the bottom of the totem pole, without calling out individual groups, and saying that us at the bottom here, we are all being targeted together.
Yeah.
It connects race directly with economic status. It doesn't get scared and discuss those as two things. It's a strategy that relies and is defined by the intersectionality of these issues. And Bernie's campaign is one of the only campaigns that actually utilize this messaging, and it works because it's the reality of the world we live in.
There's so much like fear mongering that's happened with the targeted advertising and with like these news stories that have been specifically directed towards people, try to make them scapegoat certain populations.
It's all about dialogue. I mean, that's the whole campaign. It's about dialogue, about being open to having dialogue.
So, question for this political strategy over here.
Oh.
Sorry. He wins, he gets sworn into the Oval Office, and then suddenly they sit down like they do with every president and fucking brief him on the truth about all the shit that we don't know yet, how they're all aliens, and then he gets he already has white hair, and he gets all the information, and then they threaten his whole family and tell him that he just has to be their pawn or else he's dead and assassinated. What do we do? Because that's what happened with Obama, right? I'm just kidding.
He says, no, wait a minute. He says, you want free healthcare? We'll give you free healthcare. And he cares for the aliens too. I don't know. He cares for, you don't have to be fucking human for him to like you and care about you.
No, I'm just
It's
scared.
universal.
What are the real people that run shit behind the scenes are gonna do to him? I'm scared. It's this beautiful frail body.
Giuliani unveils himself. Even if he dies, we can just like prop him up, and then AOC can like use him as like a sock puppet.
We're sorry, Brady. We love you. I feel like a lot of people have given up on the whole system. You know, the people in power have all the weapons. They have all the wealth. It's all concentrated, and if you really are a threat to them, they will assassinate you. And like they'll just. I couldn't even like take in everything and all the disasters that were happening in the world at the same time. I couldn't process all of them. I had to just take my tunnel vision one day at a time and try to help one person or write one song or do something, you know?
I think that's what's good about this campaign, is it's a way of channeling your anger and frustration and helplessness into a positive and into a solutions-oriented approach. It doesn't just feel good to be a part of, like, it's healthy to feel positive and to have hope.
Oh yeah, that actually gave me hope when I saw that he won Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, all these people that I don't know care about the world too. That's the voice of the people.
He didn't just win them. He's the first candidate in U.S. history to win the popular vote of the first 3 primary states. Like, that means something. There's this constant kind of conversations about, is he electable? The idea of electability is a false narrative. It doesn't exist. Electability is self-defining. He is electable because he is the largest grassroots coalition and organization in the history of this country.
Wow.
Right? He is electable because he just won the popular vote in the first 3 states of the primary. Everybody who worries about, well, is this the right way to beat Trump? He's proving it.
Yes.
He is Is Joe Biden electable? He hasn't even showed up.
Yeah,
Constantly proving himself. Yeah.
We won't.
Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are not like cats and dog owners, right? Or cat and dog owners, right? Like, you don't have to hate one to love the other. Or
you have to hate
if you love one, I just feel like every dog owner is like, I hate cats. I'm like, fuck you. Like, cats
are you a cat person, Mike?
I am, but I like dogs too. But that's my point though. Is like, I think there's this understanding that, like, there's the Bernie bros and there's the Bernie people who like despise Warren. I'm not gonna say those people don't exist. That's out there. That being said, I support Elizabeth Warren. I mean, like, there's no denying she's one of our most progressive senators in top 3, no question. She's incredible. Do I think she's a fantastic politician? Yes. Do I think there's a better option than her? Yes. Bernie Sanders. If you're gonna say these two people are even, which we can talk about, they're not, right? Like, if you were to assume that they were equal politicians in some way, then you look at their history, right? And here's the reality of it. Like you said earlier, Bernie Sanders was getting arrested in the civil rights movement. Okay, this guy has understood right and wrong and morality for his entire life. Okay, Elizabeth Warren, God bless her heart, she's incredible, but she was making speeches for the Federalist Society in 1991, right? That's not that long ago. Okay, she was a Republican up until 96, I believe. The Federalist Society is anti-Roe, right? They are trying to overturn abortion rights of women all over the country. The founder of that organization was very openly anti-Roe. She spoke at that event at a time when everybody understood what that organization was about. Now, has she changed and evolved? Yes. Is that great and good? Yes. Has she turned into an advocate? Yes. That being said, if you were going to ask me who I would choose to lead a revolution, would I want the person that was getting arrested at the age of 18 in the civil rights movement to lead that revolution? Or would I want somebody that when we were 4 years old was still a Republican backing corporate interests? I think it's pretty obvious who the better choice is there when you look at history. Because they are the two furthest left candidates within the race, they get grouped together, right? And because on the larger scale, they're the closest, it does seem like they have exact same policies. They don't. Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders wants that now. Elizabeth Warren did want that. Now she's saying we're going to have to take smaller steps to get there. Felons voting rights, right? In my mind, if you get arrested, if you're a poor black man who gets arrested for sleeping on the street in Florida, does that mean you shouldn't have the right to vote? Absolutely fucking not. Bernie Sanders agrees with that. Elizabeth Warren has not made a decision on that yet. She doesn't know if that's true or not. If you're a woman who's pregnant and you need more than 12 weeks to take care of your child, to have family leave, Bernie Sanders wants to give that to you. Elizabeth Warren hasn't decided. She says that should be limited right there. We have over $1.3 trillion worth of student loan debt right now in this country. There's an actual difference for tens of millions of young people and older people between the difference of somebody saying, I'm going to completely forgive that debt, and somebody else saying, well, I'll forgive it for some of you, and I'll forgive part of it for others.
Side note, has Bernie ever said anything about reparations?
Yes.
What does he do?
Supports reparations. Yeah, I mean, to be frank, similar to a lot of his other plans, like, has he explained exactly how those payments will work? No, but he's openly expressed support for reparations.
Again, like, we know that you have your own information and we support you, and I have close friends that are voting for Warren and all that good stuff. But right now we need to win, and I hope we can all come together in the name of unity. Our California primary is coming up March 3rd. I know some people are gonna head out to the swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona to try to knock on doors. Do you have anything to say about what people can do?
If you're in Los Angeles, there's a new law that says you can show up at any polling place. It does not have to be your destined place. So if you work somewhere else in the city and that's more convenient, show up there, you'll be fine. You can register to vote. Almost every one of these organizations is organized enough that they have explicit directions for their followers and volunteers of how they can get involved. Often involves phone banking, often involves canvassing, often involves knocking on doors. But like you said, like, you can go, you can travel if you want. A lot of these campaigns, like Bernie's campaigns, they provide free travel and busing to the states that are close by. Once you get past your presidential primary vote, there's still like 15, 20 votes that you have to make, and it's really difficult. And like, it's hard to do that much research. People don't have time. There are organizations that if they've earned your trust already, you should check them out. Chances are that they probably have a voting guide already online where they have laid out who they recommend voting for. Remember that the primaries are meant to be a time where you can truly vote for who you want to represent you. I think there's often a way of thinking that says, well, I need to think about electability, or I need to think about who everybody else is going to vote for. I need to think about who has the best chance of winning. That is what the general election is for. My theory is be your own person, vote for who the fuck you want to vote for and who the fuck you think is the most powerful potential leader. And then if they don't win in the general, fall in line. Like, that's where it's time to just put your blindfold on and say, okay, right?
We
like,
need to get
that's
this
the point where it's
demon
like,
out of office.
this is get that motherfucking fascist out of there.
I've heard of a couple other organizations that we want to shout out that are doing great work that you could support financially or hit up and get information from. Stacey Abrams has a group that is against voter suppression that is called fairfight.com. And that's wehaverights.us. For me, I love Democracy Now!
Yep.
I've been checking out Truth Out, Vox.
Yeah.
I'm happy
Yeah.
that John Oliver is back because he's my favorite pundit.
I think Vox is fantastic for providing context to the news. I think it's a really good kind of secondary source. I think it's important to frankly consume news from a lot of different places, including sometimes from more right-wing leaning areas.
Yeah.
Not so that you believe what they're saying, but so that you can get an understanding for what other people are consuming.
True.
Which is important. That's how we get locked into our bubbles, is by not understanding what other types of people are ingesting and consuming. That being said, I like the New York Times, I like the Washington Post, I like Jacobin, which is a little more, it's a democratic socialist paper. I like Current Affairs. Daily Beast is good. Yeah.
So, this is winners and wankers of the week. So we got our winners. Barney is our winner. Things are so much sweeter when you fight hard for them. And he's been fighting his whole life for this, and it is going to mean the actual world if we shift into this direction. So I want you, since you're our amazing special guest, to say who's the wanker of the week? Who's the little fucker of the week?
The wankers is mainstream media, man. Like,
Okay.
I'm not somebody who's like totally anti-CNN, MSNBC. Like, I get it. It's part of the system. Like, I understand that. There's a failure for a lot of these pundits to actually understand why is Bernie Sanders winning. People are breaking down. MSNBC anchors are breaking down. CNN anchors are breaking down. Fox News, we all know that it's a shit show. But it's really interesting. MSNBC anchors and CNN anchors, they are not everyday journalists. These are multi-millionaires who have multi-million-dollar yearly contracts because they're TV stars.
Holler at me, guys. I want to be a fan.
I don't think it's realistic to expect somebody who's intaking millions of dollars a year to understand the struggles of everyday people. And when you have people on television in these positions breaking down the politics of everyday life who also fail to understand the struggles that people are going through, of course they're not going to understand what a movement like this is doing or why it's happening. And it's showing that there's a real disconnect between those who are talking about our news and those who are living it.
Well, it has been an absolute honor to have you.
It's simple for me. It's about believing that there's a better world. That's it. It boils down to that for me. And like, to me, he is the best messenger and the best kind of journeyman for getting us there.
You heard it from Charlie. He's a breast journeyman. I'm just kidding. Is there any last words that you have for these fine people of the world?
No, just believe in a better world, Just vote for Bernie. If you want a better world, I think he's the best option. Vote for Bernie.
Anything that you're excited that you have coming up, or how people can follow you?
Don't worry about me. Just get involved wherever you can. If you can donate $2.70 to your favorite candidate, like, that's helpful. That allows those candidates to do their best. Bernie Sanders has an average donation of $27. That's crazy.
Love it. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for putting your life's energy towards helping to make change and learning about these issues. I truly appreciate you. My name is Hazel Rose. Please follow me on Spotify. I like to make music and I like to speak to you fine people. All the info is below. Stay involved, stay active, don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
You know what? They should be getting nervous.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. It's me, Hazel Rose. Thank you so much for being a part of this and watching that vlog that you just watched. Was it good? Did it suck? Let me know. Tell yourself you love yourself, hug a friend, freaking change the world because this world is fucked. And we need you. Good night.